welcome back to Naomi's Bookshelf for Bookmas Day 16. I do apologize right now for any noise you might hear outside. Just across these walls, on the other side of the walls, the neighbors are doing some renos. And I don't really want to wait to film. So we're gonna just deal with the noise. So we're gonna talk today about my Christmas traditions. Now, my family has several Christmas traditions that are just really fun, and I wanted to share my Christmas traditions with you, and then you can share your Christmas traditions with me in the comments. I'd love to hear some of your favorite Christmas traditions. So we're gonna talk about how we started the start of Christmas in my family. In my family, we start decorating the tree, setting up all the things, but before we do any of that, we set up the tree, stand it up. We always have had a fake tree. And then before we do any decorations, we take a long nail about this long and we would tie it to the bottom of the Christmas tree to signify for us that Jesus came on Christmas, but to die for us, and have a nail put through his hands and his feet to die for us on the cross. So that's the first tradition we've always done. Then on top of that, we would deck all the trees. We would put out our Christmas village. We all had our own little buildings, our own little sections, and we always had so much fun setting up the Christmas village with all the ice rinks, with all the different people walking around, the different stores, and setting it all up in a very fun Christmassy way. I still do that every year, and I will show you what it looks like this year. So this is the village that I just put together. It's all of our little buildings, the school, the boutique, which is my personal one, a bookshop, and then my sister's drugstore and our sister's toy store. All the different little village pieces that we always put up together every Christmas. And then our next tradition is the gift at Christmas Eve. So we do a lot of Christmas baking, the normal traditional stuff. We go to church on Christmas Eve. We sometimes went to church on Christmas morning too, but not too often. And then what we do on Christmas Eve is really special. We always would have one present we could open, and we would always pick one present that we gave to each other as siblings. So we always pulled names out of a hat before Christmas season or just at the beginning of Christmas season. So once we pull the names out of the hat, we would buy the gift for the person who's on our name. There are 4 of us kids, and we always seemed to get the same person every year, no matter who was pulling the names. It was really funny how that all worked out. So we would do that. And then on Christmas Eve, we would open our present, typically from each other as kids. And we would have the one present we'd open up on Christmas Eve, and then the next day on Christmas, we'd open up the rest of the gifts. And this was a way to meld our parents' traditions of my dad, who would only open up presents on Christmas Day, and my mom, who'd only open presents up on Christmas Eve. So we'd melt them together, and one on Christmas Eve, the rest on Christmas Day, and then we'd always have poor man's breakfast, or like a casserole with a bunch of like yummy Christmas food in it for Christmas morning. It was always a fun Christmas tradition that we always really enjoyed. We also would always get together with family friends, and then especially when we lived in Ontario, when we didn't have family nearby, we would throw a party for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, typically Christmas Eve before the Christmas Eve service or just after, and we would have appetizers and invite everyone from our church who didn't have someone to go, and they would come and hang out with us for Christmas Eve, and we just hang out together and create our own little family unit for Christmas Eve. It was always a great way to spend time with others, especially when we were not with family. Now, the last thing we always would do, no matter what, is we'd always sit down and read the Christmas story from Luke. And we just loved just to sit there and read it together. We also would read some of these old, like these Advent books that you would read about the story of Jesus, or about the time of Jesus, and then it would go up to his birth. And those were always really special to just sit down and read together and calm our hearts and think about why we have Christmas and not because of the gifts. So those were some of my favorite Christmas traditions in my memory. I love those memories of us being together, opening up presents, and just hanging out together. We always have our stockings, which they're here. Us girls, our stockings are here. Me and my 3 sisters, or my 2 sisters. And we would always love to go through those as well and pick those out in the morning, even if we're not morning people, because I'm not a morning person. But it's always a great time at Christmas with family and with loved ones. So please let me know down below what is your favorite Christmas tradition or a Christmas tradition that warms your heart. I would love to hear what you are always doing with your family, and I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for another day of Bookmas. Bye for now.